Hey everyone, so yeah, this video is a bit late, but it is 2 weeks in a row, which is better than what I have been doing. Yeah, so we'll just ignore the lateness and carry on. So as you can tell by the title, I'm talking about my holiday that I went on a couple of weeks ago. I was going to do proper vlogs whilst I was walking around, but as it was a family holiday I kind of didn't. I thought it was a bit rude. So I'm just going to post the videos that I did take with a bit of a commentary by me. So if you've been following my Twitter or my YouTube where I've mentioned it, I went to Tenerife for 2 weeks at the end of July. Whilst I was there I did a lot of your usual touristy things, like I went to the beach a few times and I went along the promenades and bought loads of clothes and I fed the fish quite a lot at the harbour because there are so many fish there. But I also did some of the other things like visit some of the theme parks. However, the first thing we did was we went on a boat trip. Now the boat trips in Tenerife take you along the east side of it, and you normally get to see all the wildlife that's in the ocean around Tenerife. So we saw pilot whales. They came really close to the boat and it was really cool to be able to see them, but you always see the pilot whales because that's where they live. This is like where their home is, so it's not unusual to see them. As we got further out we actually saw dolphins. I've not seen dolphins since the first time I went in 2001, so it's been 13 years since I've seen them, and seeing them in the wild is so much better than seeing them in the attractions and the theme parks, because this is how they act normally. And we got really close to them and we saw them like 3 or 4 times going there and back, and it was just astounding to be able to see that many. I was just really happy that that happened, but unfortunately I did burn my legs on this trip because I had my legs out in the sun and I did go in the sea, which is a bit of a shock for me because I don't like the sea. I don't like the fish in the sea. If the sea was like a giant pool I'd love it, but no. So the salt water burnt my legs because I'm an idiot. As I said, we went to the harbour a few times and fed the fish, and what's so cool about the fish here is that they're all, well obviously they're all really exotic because it's like, you know, even though it's the Atlantic Ocean they do have a lot of exotic fish. But the best thing was the trumpet fish. The trumpet fish we only saw 7 years ago for the first time, and normally they're really difficult to spot, but this year they were hiding, they were coming out into the open harbour and you could see them properly, and I managed to get a pretty good view of them on camera because I found where they were hiding, and I was willing for them and the barracuda to eat some of the small fry because it would be so much more fun to see something exciting like that happen. Normally we just chuck bread in for the fish and they all just come flocking to the surface, so then all the predator fish are underneath like trying to make their way up to the top and eat them, but some of them had a go at trying to eat them but nothing came of it, and I was a little bit disappointed. I know it sounds really sinister to say, but it's one of them things that it's really weird to want to see happen, but it's something that happens anyway and you never see it. And it makes me appreciate all the nature documentaries where they're showing footage of animals catching and eating something, because it must take them hours to actually sit and stay and watch and film that thing happening, because in the blink of an eye you could miss So a few days later on my holiday we went to the Lorry Park where my sister bought this really wonderful hat, and we did a lot whilst we were there. We went to the orca show, which I did tweet about, where I got splashed. So, we were sat in the splash zone, but we thought that just meant that there'd be tricks and you might get wet, but they were purposely making the tricks designed to splash the audience, so we just got full on soaked by it. I was drenched all day. It took me about 4 hours to dry off. Even though it was boiling hot, it just wouldn't dry. I was just drenched in salt water and I was like, oh, I'm already burnt, please stop burning me. And then after that we went straight to the dolphin show, and it was pretty cool, but they looked so small compared to the whales. Like, it is ridiculous how small they are in comparison. You don't normally notice, but if you go from one to the other straight away then it's just there. And It was a good show, and it was good because they told you about how to tell the difference between male and female, and it was quite informative as well. It's better than some of the other shows where they just don't care about like actually giving some sort of information out about these animals and how they actually act in the wild. So it was quite nice to see that, although it did take quite a bit of time out from the show, and it was less a show, more of an information about dolphins. We also got to see the big silverbacked gorilla wandering around doing his thing as well, and also some penguins in the penguinarium, which is pretty cool. They've got a fully enclosed cold area, like where it's dark at the moment because currently in wherever the penguins live it's dark, so they do it so it swaps and follows the actual pattern of the sun. And also they've got a shark tunnel, which used to have a sand tiger shark in, but now that's in the Siam Park, which is a sister theme park for the Laura Park, which is a water park. But they've still got nurse sharks and leopard sharks, and I think they've got black tip reef sharks and white tip reef sharks, but I can't remember. So, but they do have loads, and it was a great day out, even though it took 2 hours to get there because the roads are not as good as they are in the rest of Europe, just because it is a volcanic island, so you have to drive all the way around the island to get to the park. But it's definitely worth a day out, and it was so much fun, and I got to have currywurst again, and oh my god, I love that food. It is beautiful. I can't wait to go back to Germany and have it, just because it's one of the best foods ever. One of the other things we did was to go to this little fishing village called La Caleta. We walked there, and it took about 2 hours, but we were stopping and looking in rock pools and feeding lizards along the rocks as well. But whilst we were there, we were just looking out into the harbour they have, and my mum turned around and went, "Ah, turtle!" And there was just this turtle in the middle of the harbour. It just popped up its head and was like, "Hello," and then it went back under and swam off into the open ocean. And it's weird to think that there was people swimming around there, and they were scuba diving and trying to look for animals, but it's weird to think that there was this huge turtle hidden amongst the rocks, and you couldn't tell it was there before it swam up because its shell matched perfectly the colour of the rocks. I took a photo of it underwater, and you can't actually see where the turtle is and where the rocks are because it's just so similar and it's so blended and camouflaged, and I'm a bit annoyed I couldn't get a proper photo of it, but at the same time I'm so happy that I saw one because it was something that you didn't expect to see. But unfortunately that day was ruined because I fell over on one of these slopes, and I felt my right leg going, and my left leg I used to try and steady myself, but instead all I did was slip with that leg as well and twist my body, so I landed on my knee and I couldn't walk. So I damaged myself for the last week of my holiday, but it slowly got better. But it was just horrendous the first day, and luckily it didn't go infected or anything, but I don't recommend falling over on holiday. It's not a great plan. So that was my holiday this year. It was really fun, and I really miss it because Tenerife is one of the places that I've been for years, and to me it feels in a way like a second home, and I always hate coming home back to Sheffield because the weather there is always beautiful and the food is so nice and it's quite cheap, and there's a beach and there's a swimming pool, and I'd forgotten how much I loved swimming, and now I'm home and I can't swim, and it's so frustrating. But have any of you been on a summer holiday, and if so, where did you go? Or if not, did you want to go somewhere but couldn't find anywhere to go? Leave a comment below and I shall get back to you. Also, if you want to talk to me outside of YouTube, just follow my Twitter, Tumblr, Ask, whatever down below that I will put links to. And yeah, hopefully I will make a video on time next week. But at least there will be a video next week. So see you later, bye!